Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that even small things feel hard lately? Not painful, not dramatic, just heavy. You wake up tired, even after sleeping. You want to be productive, but your mind feels slow. And then you start wondering, what's wrong with me? Why can't I push myself anymore? Why does everything feel harder than it should? If that sounds familiar, this video is for you. Because you're not weak, you're mentally exhausted. And there's a very real reason this happens. Section 1. Why everything feels heavier than before. Let's start here. Mental exhaustion doesn't arrive suddenly. It builds quietly, day after day. Your mind processes pressure, deadlines, expectations, unfinished goals, comparison, uncertainty, and even when nothing is wrong, your brain stays switched on, always thinking, always planning, always worrying about what's next. So let me ask you this. When was the last time your mind truly rested? Not scrolling, not distraction, actual rest. If you can't remember, that's not a coincidence. Section 2. Why mental exhaustion looks like laziness. Here's the part that confuses most people. Mental exhaustion doesn't look dramatic. It looks like procrastination, low motivation, avoiding tasks you know you can do. So you tell yourself, I'm lazy, I'm undisciplined, I should be doing better. But what if that's not the truth? What if your mind isn't refusing to work? What if it's asking for relief? Think about it. Would you expect your body to lift heavy weights without rest? Then why do we expect the mind to perform endlessly without pause? Section 3. The question most people never ask. Here's an important question. Are you actually unmotivated? Or are you mentally overloaded? Because there's a difference. Lack of motivation is about desire. Mental exhaustion is about capacity. You still want to move forward. You just don't have the mental energy to push the way you used to. That's why advice like, just work harder, often makes things worse. It adds pressure to a system that's already overwhelmed. Section 4. How mental exhaustion steals your drive. Let's talk about what's really happening inside your head. When your mind is exhausted, it goes into protection mode. It starts avoiding effort. Not because effort is bad, but because effort feels expensive. So your brain asks, is this worth the energy? Can this wait? Do we really need to do this now? That's why you delay. That's why starting feels harder than finishing. And that's why discipline feels impossible when you're mentally tired. Not because you lack strength, but because your mind is conserving it. Section 5. Why you feel guilty all the time. Let me ask you another question. Do you feel guilty even when you rest? Like you're wasting time? Like you should be doing more? That's a sign of mental exhaustion too, because your mind never switches off. Rest feels undeserved. Relaxation feels uncomfortable. So you're stuck between two states. Too tired to work properly. Too guilty to rest peacefully. That cycle drains you, slowly, silently. Section 6. This is where most people break. This is the dangerous part. When exhaustion lasts too long, people stop trusting themselves. They think, maybe I'm just not disciplined. Maybe I'm not built for this. Maybe others are stronger than me. But the truth is, most people don't quit because they're weak. They quit because they're depleted. There's a big difference. Section 7. How to start recovering mental energy. So what do? Not motivation hacks, not pressure, not forcing yourself. Start here. Lower the mental noise. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today without overwhelming myself? Not 10 things. Not a perfect plan. One small, manageable action. Mental energy returns. When effort feels safe again, consistency comes back. When pressure goes down. Section 8. Why rest is not failure. This is important. Rest is not quitting. Rest is maintenance. You don't step back because you're weak. You step back so you don't break. Strong people know this. They don't push endlessly. They reset. They recover. They return stronger. Section 9. A different way to think about strength. Let me ask you one last question. What is strength? Isn't about pushing harder, but about knowing when your mind needs care. What if discipline isn't forcing yourself, but protecting your ability to keep going long-term? That kind of strength doesn't look impressive, but it lasts. Ending, reassurance, closure. If everything feels heavy right now, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means your mind has been carrying too much for too long. Slow down. Give yourself space to recover. You're not falling behind. You're restoring your strength. And when the weight lifts, you'll move again, quietly, steadily, at your own pace. See you in the next video.